Hey guys, welcome to my channel and welcome to my no BS guide on how to grow your glutes and nothing but the glutes. I know a lot of girls have tried to grow their glutes previously and they've ended up with thighs that are bulkier than they like. Now, personally, I don't mind a bulky thigh. I am currently working on bulking my thighs and just my whole lower body. But for those of you ladies who are wanting to just grow your glutes, this video is going to help you. I'm going to address 4 topics in this video. The first one is going to be myths about building your booty. The second one is going to be your diet and how you need to be eating to grow your booty. The third one is going to be focused on glute activation, which is what you need if you're going to be training effectively. And the fourth one is training the glutes. So I'm going to provide you with a full workout for growing your glutes specifically. First up, we're going to start with the myths. Number 1 myth: no 30-day squat challenge will grow your booty. The reason being, your legs and your glutes support you all day. They are used to having a heavy load to support all day, every day, in doing whatever you do. So by just doing some bodyweight squats, you're not going to be doing much for that booty. You need to be overloading your glutes with added weight in order to see some muscle growth, in order to stimulate some muscle growth. That goes with any kind of bodyweight leg exercises. If you're like very unfit, then you may see some results at first, especially if your diet is on point. But generally, if you want to keep on growing your glutes to that disproportionate size that is commercially favored these days, no bodyweight glute or leg exercise is going to help you grow that out of proportion. And lastly, the myth that you need to be squatting in order to build your glutes. Squats are a fantastic exercise. They can help with a range of things and help to improve a range of things within your training and your physique, but they are a compound exercise and they are going to be recruiting your glutes, your quads, your hamstrings, your core, a lot of different muscle groups. So if you are wanting to avoid growing your thighs, then squats aren't going to be the best exercise for that, because you are going to be using your thighs when you're squatting. Next up, we're going to move on to diet. In order to build muscle, 90% of the time you're going to have to be eating in a caloric surplus. That's the best way to build muscle fast. Not that it's a fast process, don't let me misguide you there. Building muscle and building a good set of glutes will take time. You're going to have to be patient and you're going to have to be consistent, but if you follow these steps, it will work. You will grow yourself a booty. You need to be eating enough. You want to be eating enough protein because that helps to build the muscle and it helps with recovery after you've done your workouts. And you want to be eating enough calories in general with your fats and your carbohydrates, because that is also going to help to build the muscle, put simply. Generally, as a guideline for protein, you want to be eating 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. That will be a sufficient amount for you to be growing muscle. Now, in most cases, unless you're relatively new to lifting, it is very hard to burn fat and build muscle at the same time. But if you are wanting to have a go at doing that, I've addressed a method of training that helps with that in one of my previous videos. I will link it down in the description box below. But generally, you're gonna have to be eating and you might have to deal with a little bit of excess podge whilst you are bulking. I'm not saying you have to get massively overweight. I'm currently bulking. I will show you what I mean by a bit of excess fat. That's all. I've still got tone and definition, but I am eating in a caloric surplus and I'm not as lean as I normally am. Keeping it real with you today. On to number 3, we're going to talk glute activation. It is essential that you know how to activate your glutes whilst you're performing these exercises. Otherwise, other muscle groups are going to take over and your glutes aren't going to be getting that workout that you think you're giving them. For example, if you are squatting and not firing your glutes, your quads are going to take all the brunt, all the force, all the work. They're going to take over all the work, and you're going to be ending up with growing thighs and not much of a growing booty. So glute activation is essential to ensure that your glutes are firing optimally, especially in this day and age where the majority of people live very sedentary lifestyles. Your glute muscles just switch off and go to sleep. So it's really important that before training them, you awaken them with some exercises, which I'm going to go through right now. I love to do my glute activation work with a resistance band that you can see here. These ones, they're really inexpensive. You can get them off Amazon for about £2, which is about $4. First exercise we're going to start with is the lateral walks or crab walks. You're going to put the resistance band around your ankles. Think about bending your knees slightly, squeezing your tummy button in towards your spine and tilting your pelvis slightly forward. From there, you're going to take steps sideways. Try to keep the tension in the band when you're doing this, and hopefully you should feel the burn. From there, we're going to move the band up to above our knees, place our backs on a bench or a box. You should be thinking about having where your sports bra is against the box. From there, feet are shoulder width apart. They want to be 90 degrees away from your body. And you want to think about pushing through your heels, squeezing your glutes and lifting your hips to full extension. You want to be getting your hips as high as they will go whilst keeping your core tight. This is a great glute activation exercise, and the band will help again to awaken your abductors, your medial glutes. So with the band around your knees, you want to think about pushing your knees out the whole time and squeezing your glutes, and you're mainly going to be pushing it up through the heels rather than the ball of the foot. From there, we're going to lie on our side, and these I believe are called clams. I do not have a very large range of movement in my hips, so you may be able to open your legs much wider than mine will open, but you want to think about having your legs at a 90-degree angle. Feet can be flexed or pointed. Keep your feet together, and then you're going to open at the knee. This again is what is awakening the medial glute and the abductors. Next up, we're going to move on to the zero equipment exercises. So as you can see here, I'm doing the glute bridges, but just without the band. Really focus on the squeezing of the glute and pushing your knees out. Don't let your knees knock inwards. Also, again, pushing through the heels. Next up, you're going to lie on your front, and you want to think about contracting one of your glutes to lift one of your legs up into the air. You can literally see my glutes firing as we do this. And finally, we're moving on to the donkey kicks. I see so many people doing these wrong. You want to really think about squeezing your core and isolating the movement to your legs. Your pelvis does not want to be rocking. You don't want to be seeing a big arch in the back as you lift your leg up into the air. And from there, your leg wants to be at a 90-degree angle, and you want to think about pushing up through the heel and squeezing. You don't have to do all of these exercises, guys. I would pick maybe 2 or 3 and do 2 to 3 sets of each exercise until you're feeling that your glutes are awake and on fire. Now that your glutes are awake, we're going to move on to the workout. Now, I'm just going to give you a few tips to tailor this to you so that you are getting the most out of your workout. So, number 1, you want to be challenging yourself. You want to be lifting as heavy as you can whilst maintaining good form. So if that means you're not going very heavy at all because you're new to this, that's absolutely fine. Just do you, do what's best for you, and eventually you'll get stronger and stronger every single week. Another tip is mind muscle connection. Now, I may have just addressed this in the glute activations portion of this video, but you want to be visualizing that muscle working. Mind muscle connection is crucial when you are training. Every single rep, think glutes, 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 and they would fire. Another point. Whilst you are training your glutes should not be looking attractive. They should be ugly. They should be squeezed within an inch of their life. You should be able to see the dimples through your leggings. That's when you know that you are training effectively. When your butt looks ugly and the thrusting movements look ugly. This isn't a pretty thing, guys. If you are too embarrassed to be doing your ugly butt in the gym, you ain't gonna grow a pretty butt. And one more thing I want to address before I end this video, which hopefully you found very useful. If you do, leave it a thumbs up. Rest. You don't want to be overtraining and overworking yourself. Sometimes less is more. Rest is equally as important as the training, so make sure that you are giving your glutes 1 to 2 days in between training sessions. I normally train my legs and glutes on a Monday, a Wednesday and a Saturday, so that's 3 days, but 2 days would be enough as well. Make sure you're giving yourself between 1 to 2 days at least for your glutes to recover before training them again. We're going to start with a compound lift. Now, we did a variation of this in the glute activation exercises, but this is the glute bridge or the hip thrust. I like to go heavy with these guys. You're going to have your back on the box where your sports bra is, feet at a 90-degree angle, shoulder width apart. You can flare your toes out slightly with this as well. I would highly suggest putting a pad around the bar to protect your pelvis and your hips. From there, roll the bar up onto your hips, nice tight core whilst you squeeze your glutes and lift your hips up into the air. I like to pause for a second at the top of this one just to really feel the burn, and I often finish a set with an ISO hold for 10 seconds or so just to really get all the blood flowing into my glutes. From there, we're going to move on to a stiff-legged deadlift. Now, I'm doing this with a kettlebell, but you can do it with a barbell as well, especially if you're wanting to go heavier. With this, it's really important that you don't let your knees come in front of your toes. You want to think about pushing back your pelvis so you're hinging from the hips. So only go down as far as you can feel a nice stretch in your hamstrings, and then from there you want to think about engaging your glutes, squeezing them and pushing your hips forwards whilst keeping the weight in the heel of your foot. So with the upper body, think about squeezing your shoulder blades together the whole time and pushing your shoulders down away from your ears, and then your arms are just staying relaxed. They're just holding onto the kettlebell or the barbell. It's also imperative with this exercise and with every single exercise that you do keep your spine in a nice neutral position. You never want to be curving or overly arching your back, as this could cause injury. Next up, we're going to move on to the kettlebell swing. Now, this is a power movement. It's an explosive movement. I love these, but again, so many people do them wrong. With this, it's very, very similar to the stiff-legged deadlift. You're hinging back from your hips. You're not hinging from the knee. There's only a slight bend in the knees. You're not squatting down. You're literally just hinging forwards with your upper body and pushing your pelvis back. From there, you want to be thinking about explosively thrusting your glutes to make the kettlebell swing forwards. This is not using any of your upper body, guys. You just want to think about squeezing your shoulder blades together, keeping your back engaged, and keeping a nice neutral spine throughout the movement. The next move is going to be the cable kickback. Now, you've probably seen this on multiple Instagram fitness models pages, but it is a good one. I'm not going to deny that. You want to think about having your body parallel to the floor, so you're keeping forwards, a slight bend in the supporting knee, and then you want to think about pushing through the heel of the working leg. Push through the heel, squeeze the glutes, and pause at the top to really feel them glutes contracting. Don't rely on the momentum here, although you will be using it to a certain extent. Again, don't let your pelvis tilt. You want to keep everything locked in position and you're just moving the glutes. I like to think about squeezing the top part of my glute to get the weight higher. As you can see as well, I'm bending my knee as I come in and then straightening the leg as I kick it out. You want to think about kicking the box away from the floor. That's a good cue from Robin Gallant there. I'm not going to take credit from that. From there, we're going to superset that cable kickback with some abductions on the cable. Now, these attachments, normally the gyms have them, but you can get them for about £6 off Amazon if you don't already have one and if your gym doesn't have one. These are a great accessory movement, so they help to strengthen your abductors and your medial glute to prevent your knees from falling inwards when you are performing other exercises. They're a really good accessory movement. And also helps to create a rounder shape of the butt. With these as well, it's really important that you keep your body square. You don't want to be leaning towards whatever you're holding on, and you don't want your pelvis to be tilting. Focus on having a bent supporting leg and using your medial glute to kick outwards, keeping your feet facing forwards. We're going to finish up with another variation on the glute bridges, but this is a single leg weighted glute bridge. This is great if you're short on time and don't have time to set up the barbell. Equally, you can have them both in the same workout like I'm doing now. I like to use this as a finisher. If you're new to training, you probably won't need to add the weight plate, but I like it for the added resistance as I've been training my glutes for a little while. With this, it's exactly the same technique, but you are lifting one leg off the floor, pushing through that heel and taking it nice and slow. Feel the burn. Love the burn, guys. Those are my top glute exercises that avoid working other areas of the leg and the thigh. I really hope you enjoyed them, and if you do give any of these exercises or the workout a try, please do let me know. I'd love to know how you got on. That is going to conclude this video today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you found it useful. Please, if you haven't already, click that subscribe button so you don't miss any more of my videos, and give this video a thumbs up. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.